We're on section 4, part C of the conservation project. This is all about the shelter design. So in the last section you researched kind of roughly what shelter you plan to build, whether it was going to be made out of timber or stones or twigs or what materials, and generally what it was going to be designed like. Here we need our finished design. So what you're drawing here is not a design you've made up off the top of your head. Your design has to be something that you found in a book or in a magazine or on the internet. The reason for that is that some of the shelters that you design for wildlife have to be very specific. You can't just make up some sort of box and think that wildlife is going to be attracted to it. So for example, I've done a bat box. A bat box has very specific sizes and measurements, or otherwise the bats won't be attracted to go and live in it. So as I said, make sure this is a design you found on ideally a conservation website, so like an Irish bird conservation website or something like that. So part one of it, you need to draw an elevation, which is a front view, and an end view, which is a side view of the shelter you're going to build. You're going to draw it with a pencil and a ruler, and then you're going to put the overall sizes onto it. So it says draw the elevation and end view. It's a sketch. Include the dimensions of the overall height, width and depth of the shelter. Sketch should be drawn with pencil and ruler. So it's a sketch. If you've got a board and T-square at home, by all means use a board and T-square, but it doesn't need to be as good as that. I've drawn this with a pencil and a ruler, and this is about as neat as it needs to be. So it can't be a very rough, messy sketch. Make sure it's nice and neat, and you'll need three dimensions: the height of it, the width of it, and the depth from front to back. The sketch that I've shown is what's called a sectional sketch for the side of it. In other words, this is what it looks like inside, as if I sliced down through it. You don't have to have that, but if you can do it, it can help. I need to show the inside because in the bat box we've got these kind of fins that are screwed on so the bats will live up inside them. So give the front view and the side view sketch a go. Second sketch then is the isometric sketch. So in other words, the 3D view of it. We want a nice 3D view so you get an idea of what this thing is going to look like in real life. So you want a large sketch. Isometric means a vertical line, roughly a 30-degree line going this direction, and roughly a 30-degree line going the other direction. Again, I drew this with a ruler, so you can see that my 30-degree lines aren't exactly parallel. That doesn't matter once they're pretty close. It's only supposed to be a sketch. If you've got a board and T-square, by all means use the board and T-square to draw it. So you want a nice neat sketch. You start off the sketch by drawing a box. So I started off with a box. You can see my construction lines to show the top of the box here, and then I cut it off. So it depends on what you're drawing. If it's a birdhouse, it's going to be something like this. If it's going to be some sort of shelter, it's going to be something like this. If you're drawing, if you're doing it out of rocks or something like that, or you're building a shelter out of twigs and branches, just draw a rough design of what it needs to look like. It doesn't need to be a brilliant sketch altogether. But what you do need, a little bit of colour and labels. So you need to say what the different parts of it are. So in other words, where is the entrance for the wildlife? How is it joined together? If there's little details that you need to know about, those are important. A sketch on its own doesn't give enough information. So the two things you have to do: elevation and end view, so front and side view of a sketch, and then you've got your 3D view. Give it a go, see how you get on.